Okay, everybody, welcome to the 5 vital steps to permanent weight loss. So I am Dara Thomason, and I am the weight loss coach for quilters. It's the best job ever. And I love being the weight loss coach for quilters. I love being so unique. And I want to ask you, you're gonna know if you're in the right training if you don't weigh what you want. So you feel like weight is like a mystery never to be solved. Is that you? Or you feel frustrated about your weight loss? You have given up. You've gone up and down on the scale for a long time. You're like, it just keeps going up and down, up and down. And I want to tell you, the scale goes up and down, even when you're at your like natural thinness. But we're talking like up and down and just like all over the place, like 30 pounds, 40 pounds, up and down, up and down. You can't remember the last time you were at your ideal weight. You're sick and tired of spending time and money on weight loss. You feel like there are too many strikes against you. You've got menopause, your family history, political, social injustices, all those kinds of things, COVID. Just feels like it's just impossible to even think about it or deal with that. And you feel resigned about achieving your weight goal. So does that describe you? Can I get an agreement? So thousands of quilters, tens and thousands, hundreds and thousands of quilters, they are staying confused about weight loss. They do too much of the wrong thing. They hunt for the right diet. They think that the solution is outside of them, okay? They never become their own boss about weight loss. So they're always depending on diets. They're always depending on authorities. So they never allow themselves to be like their own boss. They're scattered or they have the wrong focus. They do too much or not enough of the right thing. And then they fail too little. So that is what's happening. Who can relate to that? So this is a typical weight loss journey. So you feel really bad about the number on the scale. And so this is January 13th. We're 13 days into the new year. And how many of you have put that on your list? It's like, this is the year. I'm going to do it. Because you step on the scale and you're like, this is terrible. How did this number get this way? How did I let myself get here? Okay. Then you research like crazy. And so you're like on the hunt for the right diets, like is Weight Watchers or South Beach or keto or Noom, or like, because Noom's the new best thing, right? Keto was the new best thing. All these and intermittent fasting, all these things are the new best thing. It's like, well, I got to get on the bandwagon. I got to figure it out. So then you go and you invest not only your money, but your time and your hope. You're like, oh, I really hope this is the one. Right? Then you put your whole heart into it. You use a lot of deprivation. You use a lot of, what was the word I used? Punitive. You're very punitive towards yourself with it. It's like, you better do this. A lot of finger wagging, like, come on, we got to figure this out. This is serious, right? And then you exhaust yourself in the process. You're like, okay, and you just have such a terrible relationship with food and yourself. And then, so what happens is the number will start changing and you're like, oh, so you feel some relief. And some of you might even use enough willpower and enough deprivation and enough finger wagging, enough punitive talk that you actually do get to that number on the scale. But it's been such a terrible process. It's been so exhausting that you're like, I wonder why I'm not happier. I should be happy. I'm wearing a size 2 pants. And then you use food to celebrate, right? And give yourself a reward, and you kind of ease off the deprivation. You go back to your old ways, and then you in the back of your mind, you're like, yeah, I can do that again. I did it once, I can do it again. It's gonna be hard. I'm gonna have to go in for the law, like I'm gonna have to like really get myself all excited about it, or not excited, but I'm gonna have to like be real a jerk to myself and start that process all over again. So in the chat, I want to see How much can you relate to this? All right. And then what happens is you start to sabotage yourself. I've never gotten the results. So then you go to, well, it's because of my DNA. It's because of my German, or, you know, people, I've heard all of them. Not, like, I've heard all of the, you know, I'm just a sturdy person. I mean, I have like German, Norwegian, Swedish, all of it. Okay. I'm 6 feet tall. So, so you look for proof that you can't be successful. You're like, well, I have menopause. Yeah, I guess I can't lose weight. Menopause. It's just the way it is. Politics and COVID. Like, we can come up with all sorts of excuses. Weather. I can't get outside and do exercise. So I see in my treadmill, if I only had a treadmill, and then we get a treadmill, we use it as a, what? We use it for putting our clothes on it, right? So interesting. Then we resign and we give up hope. But guess what happens? We go up in size, and we go to our annual visit to the doctor, and we see that number going up, or we see like we're having to buy this different size of pants that we've never bought before. And we think, all right, I'm back. I got to go back to the hunt. And the vicious cycle starts all over again. So this is the cycle that so many of us have gone on over and over and over again. This is why we have yo-yo dieting. So I am not interested in that. Anyone can lose 20 pounds. Anyone can lose 10 pounds. Anyone can even lose 50 pounds this way, but it is not sustainable and it is not permanent. And that is what today's webinar is about. The 5 vital steps to creating permanent, sustainable, happy, realistic weight loss. Okay. So why does this vicious cycle happen? Why do you think it's happened over and over again in your life? Because I want to say to you, you're a very smart, brilliant person. You've been very successful in your life. I mean, even the fact that you can come on a Zoom call, right? Like, that shows a level of like intelligence. So why does this keep happening over and over and over again? So I'm going to tell you some of the reasons why we have this pitfall. And number one reason is we have a crumbled foundation. So I want you to imagine if, like, we're going through on Instagram or Pinterest or whatever, and we see a gorgeous quilt. And I was like, oh my goodness, that quilt is so beautiful. I want to make it. And it's paper pieced. And I don't know paper piecing. I have books on paper piecing. I can go on YouTube and I can figure it out. But it's like, I don't really want to learn it. It's like I'm going to give the example of my gammal. So I've had 3 gammals now. And my second gammal was computerized. And I upgraded the computer, and I was just like, I said to my husband, you know what, you go figure it out and then tell me how it works. And then I even taught for gammal dealers here in Canada, went all across Canada, and I'd be working for them at these trade shows and everything. And I said, well, just, I don't really want to, I just didn't really want to know. I didn't want to take the time to learn how everything worked. So I actually sold it. I was honest with myself and I was like, okay, this is not sustainable, because I can't be calling the lady at the gammal help center all the time when I have a problem. Because if I'm not interested in learning like the foundation of how this computerized program works, I have no business having it. So I actually sold that one, and now I have just like a regular, amazing regular one, no computer. So that would, like, could you imagine though, like every step I'd have to phone her and be like, oh, hey, Liz, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do that? It's because I'm not independent. I don't have any sort of like framework or guidelines. So the problem is we've hunted for a diet. We have this how greed. It's like, just tell me how, kind of like with Liz at the gammal place, or my husband, just tell me how to do. I don't want to know all the stuff. Just tell me how. But that's not sustainable. Okay. That's not going to allow me to learn how to troubleshoot or figure things out. And then this is the other problem. You just become a good student. So I had like little cheat sheets for what to do on the computer with the quilts. But if I went one step wrong, I was hooped. I didn't know how to fix it because I didn't understand it. So then I relied on all these external experts. So it was very limiting. I could only quilt with the work hours. And then if she wasn't there, I was in trouble. I couldn't do it. So that is the exact same thing with weight loss. Okay. So you don't know the rules, you rely on others, right? You don't know the process, it feels scary, and you don't have any confidence. And so number one reason why we have this vicious cycle that I just shared was because we don't have a firm foundation. We don't understand the science of weight loss, and we also don't understand what's going on in our brains. So the second reason why we don't have a sustainable permanent weight loss situation is because we think that we need to be motivated. We think it's the motivation that's going to help us to do what we need to do. It's like, I got to get all pumped up. I got to get my playlist. I don't have the right playlist, or I got to listen to another podcast. No. So this is actually a bomb. And a bomb has a very short fuse, and then it like explodes. And so we are relying, if we rely on our emotions to be like in that vibe, or like, to listen to one of my, oh, well, Dara, I just got to listen to one of her stories, and then I'll be like, okay, I can do this. Or whoever, like, someone who's like really good at South Beach, or someone who's really good at keto. Oh, I just got to watch more YouTube videos. I just got to get more pumped up. No, that is the wrong fuel. It's a short fuse, and it's not going to last. So when the school calls and says, we're going to be canceled for a week, and now you have to scramble, or your daughter's phoning and saying you got to babysit the grandkids, it's like that motivation isn't going to help you to make a decision between the hamburger or the salad. All right. The third reason why we have this negative cycle of the yo-yo dieting is that our external identity, we have very limited thinking about ourselves. And the problem is we are going to our past to see if we have evidence that we can be successful. Now, we have really strict rules about what creates happiness. So for example, what is the number on the scale? How many of you, you can just, you don't have to, this is why I have a webinar. You don't have to be as interactive. If you want to be interactive, I welcome you to do that. But I want you to really think about, oh, by the way, I got so excited about doing this webinar. So I am Dara Thomason, the weight loss coach for quilters, and I am a certified weight and life coach. I myself have lost 50 pounds without counting calories and exercising because I wanted to create a weight loss program, protocol, lifestyle that was going to help me to get to my ideal weight and stay there. I didn't want to count one stinking calorie. I didn't even really care that much about calories. In fact, when my clients say, what is the protein to carb to fat? I'm like, well, we could just Google it. Like, I never know how many calories I've eaten in a day. Doesn't matter. And I've been able to keep the weight off for over 3 years. So so I have a lifetime membership that we're actually going to be celebrating on Saturday. And that I'm going to talk about that later on in the webinar. And you can expect to be here about an hour and 15 minutes or so. But I can stay on for as long as you need, any questions you have. So sorry, I get really excited about you being here. I really get excited about you taking the time for yourself. It shows me a lot about your character, that you're willing to put yourself, now prioritizing yourself. And that is a wonderful thing. And that is showing me that you are ready for learning this information. And I do recommend that you make sure you turn off all your alerts on your phone or whatever. I really want you just to have this time for yourself, to write things down and to really be reflecting on it. Okay. And I see people in here that are already in my program. And I love that you really have like embraced that you truly can lose weight with your brain. It has nothing to do with counting calories or exercise. So kudos to you, ladies. I love it. Okay. So how many of you think that the number on the scale has to be a certain number before you can feel an emotion? Okay. Like, be honest. It's like, well, I can't really love myself yet. I can't really accept myself yet. If I accept myself at that weight, then I'm never going to change. How many of you? Okay. You don't have to raise your hand to me, but I really want you to think about this for yourself. All right. We also have in society, like, I have to have a certain I have to have a certain amount of money in my bank account for me to feel like I'm successful. I have to have like maybe your children and all of their successes. Like, I can only be a good mom if my kids are doing this, this, or that. Okay. Some of us even think like the size of our stash creates our happiness, or like how many quilt accomplishments we've had, how many ribbons we have, right? How many women are just like so driven thinking, when I have best of show, when I have this, then I can feel good about myself. So we've got this very strict way of thinking about our identity that is going to really limit the way that we can progress ourselves. I like to think of it as like a rope that you've tied around your waist, and you're like, okay, I want to do this new thing, but the rope is only so long, and it's like you keep limiting yourself and you're limiting your own progress because you think the only way I can be happy is if, because we've got this external identity. Another way of thinking about it, it's very conditional, right? It's conditional love. It's like, I can only accept myself if I have this, this, and this. And one of the problems associated with this is that, I don't know how many of you have done this, but how many of you have sat down and said, I have a successful life when, and then you create your own criteria. Has anyone even done that? Probably not. So if you haven't even created that for yourself, how are you going to even know that you've reached your targets? How even know that you actually you qualified to be good, right? Because you haven't even done that. So that's why we've got this treadmill effect, right? Because we think we need to have all these things, but we didn't even have the criteria written out. So it's like this never ending cycle. So this is how you know it's you. If you get a certain goal, like you get that quilt, the best in show, and you like kind of are happy about it for, a little while, like a day, couple, maybe even a week. And then you're like, oh, next one, because you're not so focused on the result. You're more focused on the result, thinking it's going to create a certain feeling for you rather than learning the process. Okay. One of my fellow coaches, Jody Moore, said, the result is the least interesting part. And I was like, what is she saying? But it's so true. It's the process of getting there. So weight loss has been so painful because you think it's all about the result. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. So the other part with this is external identity. You have to like prove yourself. You have to earn it. You have to like really grind it out. Like you have to like all of those kinds of things. And the problem with this is it creates this real hurry. I got to get there, and hustle energy, which is always coming from a place of lack. Like, I'm not good enough. And so because you think you're not good enough, you need to have this external accolade or this external result of the number on the scale or the number in the bank, or like for retirement or whatever that is, or how many quilts, to prove that you're worthy, to earn this feeling. Okay. Now, the fourth reason why we have this negative cycle of yo-yo dieting is that the math of weight loss, we don't understand the math of weight loss. We think that the weight and amount of time should always be going down. Like, I'm going to put this much time into weight loss, and then the numbers is going to keep going how I want it. And we think that that's the way it's supposed to be. But in actuality, it's like the stock market going the opposite way. We know the stock market's always doing this. And we have dips and we have plateaus and we have dips, but eventually there's always an upward trend. And with weight loss, it's the same thing. And then even when someone like myself, who has created like a body that is like, this is my natural, this is like, I feel amazing, this is the way my body is, I still will go up 5, 7 pounds up and down. And it's totally just part of the way our bodies are. Okay. Now, so how do you actually achieve permanent weight loss? And I really want to talk about this permanent being like sustainable. Sustainability to me is that I'm in this for the long run. I'm not in this. I'm not going to be counting calories and I'm not going to be tracking my steps. I'm not interested in any of that because that is not my personality. And I don't even want it to be my personality. Right? And so I want to teach you how to create the kind of relationship with your body that you're going to want to do for the rest of your life. You don't need to take a vacation from the weight loss. You don't have to. That's why, vacation food, right? Think about vacation food. We don't need to do vacation food anymore. We don't need to turn to like the Friday night, the weekend eating. Oh, give me a break. No, that's not sustainable. Okay, so that's what we're really, really looking at. And that is why Love Yourself Thin is the way to really learn that. So one of the problems that we have to look at, what we need to do to break that cycle, is we need to learn that a lot of the ways that our brain has been acting is what's called passive action. So our brain thinks that knowledge equates to safety. And so we have two parts of our brain. We have our lower brain that has allowed humans to survive through the Black Plague, even COVID right now. I just got my booster. So I'm like, oh, I'm glad I got it in my left arm because it would be really hard for me to keep doing this for my webinar. It's a little bit sore. I couldn't really sleep on it last night. But like we know how about vaccines and all that. So our lower brain is literally there, always scanning for danger. I think of like a mama deer, right? And she's in the field and she's like watching her baby. And if our brain is if we're in passive action, we're in that lower brain constantly checking for danger. So this is what it thinks. So then following diets feels like we're really doing stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I like photocopied I printed off all the sheets. I went to the grocery store and bought all the food. I even ordered all those containers and I prepared my food. I cooked all that chicken. Feels like you're really doing it. And you're like, I'm in it. Okay. But the problem is we are not interacting with food. We're not interacting with our bodies, and we're definitely not interacting with our emotions. And so even though it feels like we're being very productive and we're being very proactive, we are eliminating, we're actually not allowing what really needs to happen. And weight loss is never about the food. It's all about what's going on up here. Okay, so what we've got to do is need to break the cycle, and we need to go into productive action. So we need to be in our higher brain. And so we interact with food, we interact with the scale, and we see how it's reacting with our body. We actually become a participant in all of this because we're all unique and different humans, right? So we take the emotion out of the number on the scale, and we're willing to fail because we need to learn from our experience, right? Think about anytime you learn any new skill. We didn't just automatically pick up some fabric and just know how to use a rotary cutter and just know how to use that ruler and just know what a 1/4 inch seam was, and just know how to press, and we knew how to square up. We didn't just know that. We needed to learn to fail. We needed to learn to have experience with it. We needed to learn to get better. And when I think about my free motion quilting journey, oh my goodness, that's why I kept my doodle books, because I knew I would love to look back and see, wow, you've come so far, way to go, right? This is part of the human experience, okay? And even I was thinking this morning as I was getting ready for you guys, because I get to do this webinar twice today, which I'm like so excited about. And I was thinking about those little baby ducks, any baby in a shell. And I was thinking about how hard it is for them to push against that eggshell, and just how like it's a real stress. Like, and I thought about that for all of you ladies, that you're pushing against these thoughts that you feel like are very, very real. And in fact, one of the things about life coaching, when I met my first life coach in August of 2018, when she showed me the difference between my thoughts and and facts, it like changed my entire life. That is why I've become a life coach, because I remember that transformation. So it was like I'd never seen color in my life. And I was able to open my life to all the new possibilities, and I didn't have to change a thing. I didn't have to change my husband. I didn't have to change my kids. I didn't have to change where I lived. I didn't have to change any of it. I just had to have that one thing. And I was willing. So just like I'm talking about these little birds, it's like if we went and cracked those eggs for them, they wouldn't survive. They wouldn't have that strength. And so us failing is this equivalent to those birds that are struggling. We need to learn, we need to build the skills, we need to build the knowledge. Like, some people don't do well with dairy. And the only way you know that is if you eat the dairy and then you fail, like, and then it reacts in your body. And you're like, and you do it and you do a few other things and you're like, oh, I've actually solidified through my experience that dairy doesn't work for me. Great. If you weren't willing to do that, you would be still having lots of stomach problems, lots of troubles. Okay. All right. So diet knowledge and obedience do not equal weight loss. Experience equals weight loss. Okay. So important for all of you to see that. So diet knowledge and obedience does not give you weight loss. It will give you temporary weight loss. I should put sustainable weight loss. I mean, it will give you some weight loss. I actually will, I should check that a little bit. But it's not going to create sustainable weight loss for you, because you're going to gain it back and then do it over again. Okay. So if you're interested in, if you want to keep doing that, that's totally fine. If you don't want to connect with your body, you don't want to fail, and you don't want to do those things, then you can just get off the webinar now, because that's not my approach. So I'm not your girl. But if you want to learn from your own experience, and if you want to be the master of your own weight and be able to figure that out, then you need to keep watching. Okay. So these are the 5. Oh, I know. Sorry. Oh, I knew that. Okay. I have to come back to that. So there's only one reason why we're overweight. Okay. Actually, this is what I need to do. Okay, so with that, okay. So there are 3 things that happen when we're talking about that sustainability. Okay, when you experiment, you can either lose weight, you can either gain weight, or you can stay the same. There's only 3 outcomes. So you are always in control. Now, there's one reason why we're overweight. That's it. So food has energy, which is actually just calories. That's what calories are. So wood has calories, metal has calories. Calories are just the energy that is expended, that we burned it. That's as we would know. So we use wood to heat our home, and arbutus, it has a denser wood, so it will burn longer. It's like more calorie dense. That really helped me understand calories, because I didn't really, I mean, I knew calories, but like calories like sound like a swear word to me. And it doesn't make sense, because like you will have like a bag of Twizzlers and they say there's no fat, but there's like all these calories. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, right? It's been very confusing. We get a lot of mixed messages. So food has energy. Our body requires energy, right? We're a living being. We need that. And we consume more energy than our body can use. So our body stores the energy as fat. That's it. So why consume more energy than required? If we know that, and it's like true, like the only reason we're overweight is that we just put more food in our mouth than our body needs. That's it. So if we know that, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to keep the weight off? Why do we keep turning to that darn chocolate bar? Why do we keep turning to that? Such a good question, right? Okay. So I want to show you the 8 phases of permanent weight loss. You ready? And we're going to compare them to the vicious cycle that we had earlier. So we're going to look at the number on the scale as data. We're just going to be able to look at it and say like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder how that got there. Because so many of us we hide from the number. We layer our clothes. We use excuses, right? We have detached. We're all in our head. There are so many women that weigh 300, 200, whatever, 250, 280. They don't even see their body. Even for myself, I knew. I kept thinking, why do I have to keep buying bigger dresses? What's going on with the sizing? I was in so much denial about my weight, just totally in denial. Okay, in my early 20s, and mostly till most of my 20s, I was in a lot of denial about my body and my weight. So then we get curious about the why. Like, why is my body this weight? So now we're not judging ourselves. Now we're just getting curious. And then we actually start, number 3, we start to experiment with food. And we start creating our very own eating protocol. It's very exciting. We now take the reins. We're like, oh, I'm trusted enough. It's kind of like when I brought my first baby home, I was like, am I allowed to do this? Like, I didn't write a test, right? And this is the same kind of feeling for when I said, I'm just going to teach you some things. You know, I went to like a prenatal class and stuff. I did some babysitting. It's like, oh, this child's completely my responsibility. I got to figure it out. And this is what I'm going to do for you. This is the process that I teach. Like, this is what you get to do. You get to be in charge of you. And it's good. It's the way it's always supposed to have been. Right? But we have people that want us to buy their things and to be dependent on them. You know, they're not jerks or anything, but this is not sustainable. I mean, if you want it to be sustainable, if you think that the counting calories and tracking and all that, then you fill your boots. Go for it. That is not my method. Okay. So then you experiment with the food and create your own protocol. The number on the scale, you get to start being objective with it. It's not so emotionally driven, like, oh, I'm a terrible human. I'm so awful. No, you're like, oh, what's happening to the number on the scale? Okay, so now I can tweak. I can see for the last 2 weeks that I've been eating this way. Okay, let me just do one thing different and then see how that goes. Okay. So then you troubleshoot. So you're like, okay, these are the criteria. And I go through all the criteria of like food and water and sleep, snacking, just your emotional state, all of that. We go through all that. And then what starts happening is you start accepting your body exactly as it is, which is such a big step, because now you have the energy and brain juice. Like we only have so much brain juice. I compare it to like our phones, right? We charge our phones at once. That's it. That's all you're allowed to have. You wake up, your phone's charged, no more charging until you go to bed at night. Because we have a finite amount of time. So we have a finite amount of way of thinking. So if our thinking has all been about, I'm so terrible, my body's so awful, this is like my life is the worst, then it sucks up all of that extra time. Where now, if you accept your body, you're no longer having all that negative self-talk and beating yourself up and all of that. And so now your focus is on the process, and you're not so worried about the number being on the scale, because you're like, I know it's going to get there, but I'm really focused on the process. Really am. Okay. And then you're able to predict. This is really fun. You get to predict the number on the scale 80% of the time. So even today, it was so interesting because I was down 3 pounds over the last couple of days. And then the number went up just a little bit on the scale. And I was like, oh, that's right. Because I didn't eat dinner. I had so many errands to do. I didn't really eat until like 8:30, which is very unusual for me. I'm like, oh, that's the only reason why. No big deal. Like my body doesn't. So anyways, so it's like, and when the number is different, you have so much more experience because you're so concerned about the process. There's no like emotional, like beating yourself up business anymore. Okay. And then what happens is you have food freedom and your self-worth is not connected to the scale. Isn't that amazing? And so the beautiful thing is, and this is my experience, and this is what happens with my clients, is that like when I myself was at 30 pounds down, I was thrilled. I was like 6 pounds away from my wedding weight that I was like, and I had 5 babies, I had 6 pregnancies, I had perimenopause. And I thought, I'm 6 pounds from my wedding weight. This is amazing. And then I just kept doing my thing. And next thing I knew, I'd lost another 20 pounds. It was incredible. The number just kept going down. And I was like, okay. Wait a minute. That's not true. I was 10 pounds away from my wedding weight. Yeah. So I'm like, wait a minute. I gotta do the math there. Okay. So I'm going to tell you the 5 vital steps. And tonight I'm going to rearrange this. That's right. What are they're right here. And with this paper, I have to like do every other page because it's really see-through. Okay, let me find them for you. There we are. I found them. Okay, 5 permanent steps for sustainable, permanent weight loss. And when I say sustainable, it means you'll just be willing to do it. It's going to be easy and it will just be like no big deal for the rest of your life. And when I say no big deal, like we're always evolving and changing, but it'll be a way that is like very doable. Kind of like half square triangles. You make the half square triangles, but you still have to trim them. Okay. So I'm not saying it's going to be like rainbows and daisies, but it's like so doable. It's like having a nice house. Like it's wonderful, but you still have to clean it. So that's what we're going to talk about with like our brain. We have to be like keeping on top of our brain. Just like we have this beautiful new floor, stuff falls on it. So we have to sweep it and then you have to wash it, right? We have to take care of it. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So I don't want anyone to think like that it's going to be just super, super easy all the time. No, but it's sustainable because just like a house, you have to maintain it. Just like our brains, we have to maintain it. And too many of us have shut off our brains. Okay, just a little side note, just to clarify, because I know there's people on here who are in my program. They're like, Dara, it's not always so easy. Of course it's not easy. Keeping a house clean is not easy. Learning a new skill of quilting isn't always easy, but it's totally worth it. And it's very sustainable. Okay, because you know, it's like the process is becoming so much better. We talk about honing the process. That's what we're talking about. Okay. So the first step to permanent weight loss is weight loss science is simple. So understanding that foundation, really understanding what's going on. I gotta tell you, I used to teach grade 5 and 6, and even my life coach school, Brooke Castillo, she says, if we can understand it at like that level, that's mastery. And so even like if you go to the bank and they're talking like way too much, you're just like, no. Your job is to help me understand it where I'm at. And if you can't do that, you're not doing your job right. I shouldn't have to be a mortgage expert, but you should be able to explain it to me. Okay. And I believe the same thing about weight loss science. So I don't have to go into mitochondria and like enzyme this and all of that. No, doesn't matter. I give you the basics. And even myself, like I just go with the basics. Sometimes I think, oh, I didn't know all the details of this and that. No, because that's not sustainable. It doesn't even matter. Okay, so make your own protocol and troubleshoot it. So when I say protocol, I just say the way you eat. It's like, this is just the way I eat. I like calling it like a protocol. Like if you went to the lawyers and said, I need to do my will, they wouldn't say, oh, well, how much money do you make and how old are you? I don't know. It might take me. No, they're like, okay, you want a will? This is our protocol. This is just the way things are. Okay. This makes it really clean and just really like our brain really likes like organized and like a systems. Okay. We all love systems, I'm sure. Next thing is you learn brain and body connection. Our brains and bodies are already connected, but when you cut your brain off from your body, you lose a lot of stuff. So and our body stores our emotions. So if you have arthritis or if you have other like thyroid or any of those kinds of things, it's a way that we haven't responded to our body. And so we need to make that brain body connection. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to a doctor. Doctors are amazing, but definitely I've had a lot of experience helping women and myself really work through what's going on. So that's part of embracing that brain body connection. So our feelings and we become the key to unlocking our weight problems. And we're also taking 100% responsibility for ourselves. Okay. And the fifth part is that we create and grow confidence as we go. Now, the only reason we're overweight, our bodies. So why is it so hard for us to keep consuming? Why are we over consuming when we know that we don't want to have the extra weight? We don't want to have the diabetes. We don't want to have the knee surgeries because we've worn ourselves out. Okay. So we talked about the 8 phases. So why these 5 vital steps work? So we only lose weight. Otherwise, the other ones won't work. So we only lose weight when we become our very own authority, when we have independence, or we're learning to become independent, when we become our own master. Okay. So we've got to understand the foundational principles. We need to learn to apply them, and we need to make them individual to us. We actually embrace failure, and it's really interesting. I've been just noticing a lot, like even in the business industry, all of that, they talk about the importance of failing over and over and over again. And I just did a 12 days of Christmas where I had the t-shirt, Quilters Not Quitters, and here's the bag. And so we've got the importance of failing and learning from our failure, and then you get to master them. So you take responsibility for your body, your life, and yourself. Okay. And so, like I said, there's only 3 outcomes. You can either gain weight, you can lose weight, or you can stay the same. So that's it. There's only 3 possible outcomes. So now when you see them, you're like, oh, now I know what's happening. Now I'm in charge of the 3 outcomes, And so if I'm in charge of the outcomes, then if I want to keep losing weight, then I get to do that. That's in my power. They're all in your power. Okay. Now, 5 emotions that will help you get through these phases. So they're only like, so when I talk about our bodies have our brain and body connection, there's only 5 emotions that you have to feel to have success. So the first one is a willingness to fail. And I call that emotion courage. Courage, my friends. Courage to stick up for yourself. Courage to like walk, put your head up high and be like, I'm going to be the master of my own body. I've been given this body. I have this body, whatever you believe. But this is your body, regardless. And I'm going to have the courage, willingness to fail, to figure out how I can do it. Now, there's only so many ways you can fail, right? And I'm like, I'm doing it. Your resilience to get back up. So when the number keeps going up and you're like, oh, I knew I wasn't smart enough. You're like, no, I'm resilient here. I'm going to figure this out. Commitment to the process. I need you to be committed, not the little motivation, little fuse. No, like infinite commitment, people. And then this desire to be great, desire to be successful. It's like, I remember thinking in August of 2018, when I met my first life coach, and she asked me like, why do I want to be thin? And it was like, when I don't spend all the time beating myself up about my weight, I know that I will be more productive. I'll be more happy, and I'll be able to help more people. Like, and I was just thinking quilting, right? Because that's what I was doing. I can stand at my machine longer. I can have more confidence. I can do stories. I can make videos. I can go and teach. I can help more people. I can be more present with my kids and my husband. That was my desire. I was like, I want to have my best life. And if I keep thinking I'm going to gain 5 pounds every year because I have this menopause thing and I have my bursitis and I can't run, that's a terrible way. And I just felt myself shrinking. I was like, I don't want to be a shrinking person. I mean, shrinking as in like my growing this way, but shrinking in my like confidence and shrinking in my way that I saw my life being. Okay. And then we have to be disciplined to do what's difficult. Okay. Like it takes a lot of discipline to keep showing up for yourself and to being your own advocate. My daughter has this crazy teacher, and so she's having to, like, the principal gave her personal cell phone to like report things going on with the teacher. So my daughter is like, having to keep going and talking about this. So we have to have discipline even when things are difficult. Okay. So like I said, there's only 3 things, or there's only 5 emotions required to be able to do this. All right. Now I'm going to show you side by side. Yeah, here we go. So side by side. So this is what causes the vicious cycle. And this is what I teach for sustainable, permanent, loving way of losing weight. And it's really fun to see these side by side. Okay. So you feel bad, you take action. You're like, oh, I can't believe I'm here. Well, I want you to know that your worth is already set. Your worth is already decided the day you were born. Because at what point does a sweet little baby become bad? What point does a baby of a human have to earn and deserve and like grit, get themselves at that level? Like, really, when you think about it, it doesn't. Our worth is already there. We don't have to prove ourselves to anybody. We have to earn our keep. Okay. So research, feeling or convinced that you're awful. You're like, I'm not smart enough, so I gotta rely on other people and hopefully they'll take care of me because I feel terrible. So I want you to know that you can make informed decisions. And coming to this webinar shows you that you believe that you can make informed decisions. There's something that I've said in my marketing or something that has helped you see, you know what, I think she's onto something. Okay. Now the third step of the vicious cycle is you turn to an authority to solve all your problems. You actually become an active participant. You need to be an active participant. You need, just like with money, if you give all your money to people and they lose it, well, you were saying when you said, I'm not going to be involved, that you don't care about your money. You would never do that, right? But when you become an active participant, it's like, okay, tell me what's going on. I'm invested here. Okay. Now, deprivation, fear, and fuel, right? You hustle to the end. You're like, I know the process is like really bad and really scary, and really like depriving. And I really want those cupcakes. And, and you wag your finger and it's so punitive. Guess what we do here? We are so committed to the process of really, truly loving ourselves thin and accepting ourselves. It's hard for people to say love at first. I'm like, okay, we go from like disgust to like neutral to acceptance. And eventually we get to love. And when you really love your body and you really appreciate your body, you're like, my fingers are amazing. I do all this stitching and that, then you want to take care of it. Just like a beautiful new baby. You want to take care of her or him. You don't want them to suffer. You have that same relationship with you. It's so nice. Okay. So we have to have an infinite commitment because we have been going down this road for years and years and years. And it's like I call it like a rut, right? Like a in our heads. So you get results, but still feel terrible because the process was no fun. It's exhausting. No, we actually understand that life is truly 50-50 balanced. Like in order to have a normal, healthy life, 50% of it's going to be hard. 50% is going to be great. And that's normal. You sabotage yourself by convincing and proving that you can't. So you're like, just tell me what to do. And here I'm teaching you to embrace the human experience and condition. We're just like, this is just part of being a human. Okay. Well, we give up hope here and resignation. You're not interested in taking responsibility for yourself. And I teach you to be 100% responsible for you. Pardon me, it's one of my favorite tools. You wait to do this thing when the number, and then you kind of like escape from yourself, hide from yourself until you have like a reality check and you're like, oh, how did I get here? Well, guess what? I'm going to teach you how to reflect and evaluate. It's amazing. So these are the skills that you will learn when you do this. You ready? You're going to understand weight loss science. You're going to participate in the information. It's like grade 5. Okay. I'm like teaching you grade 5 level, and I'm like actually a certified grade 5 teacher. So I know what I'm talking about. Grade 5s could understand this. You can do it too. You're going to build confidence. You're going to recognize the process and emotion. You're going to evaluate your own progress. You're going to start doing self-coaching. You're going to start seeing what's going on in your brain and what's keeping you from having the results that you want. You're going to then learn these life coaching tools, kind of with the self-coaching. So one of the things that I need to let you know that whatever you think, you are going to become. Our thinking creates our results. So if you are not aware of your thinking, if you keep hiding from yourself, you're going to get all these crazy results that you are not happy about. And that's not the kind of life you want to have. So I teach you how to have that awareness. Okay. Now, the results that you can expect are permanent, sustainable, loving weight loss. You're going to have more loving relationships with your body, yourself, your others. I can't tell you how many of my clients are like, my marriage has never been better. My relationships with my kids have never been better. I didn't even know I could have so much fun with my mom when she came to visit. I didn't even realize it was on the spectrum. They just assumed that it was always going to be horrible. No, that's not true. You're going to be more productive and creative. You're going to get so many more quilts done. You're going to get so many, you're going to like, it's going to be so much fun. You're going to save a lot of money because you're not spending money on all those impulse buys. You're not going to be spending all that money on that food. You're not turning to food for all your joy. You're not going to get in your car all the time and go through the drive-through with all the shame and no, it's okay. You're going to save a lot of money. You're going to conquer the triple P. So perfectionism, people pleasing, and procrastination. I got you on that. It's amazing. You're going to save and regain so much time. You're going to be like, my life, I'm just so much more productive. I get so much more done. My cross stitching, my this, my that. I'm like actually having courage and making my dreams come true. I have clients who want to have quilt retreats. They're actually going and looking at houses and properties and looking at different ventures, the things they can do. Like they are starting to live their lives and you're going to be overall happier. So that is what happens when you learn the 5 vital steps to permanent weight loss. And that was our training for today. So now I can stay on for a little bit longer. So I want you to stay on for this because this is super important. And we're actually starting it on this Saturday. We're having a party. So you gotta pay attention. So it's a lifetime membership. And that's what the party is, because it's the first time that we're offering as a lifetime membership. You pay me once and that's it. So I do have a mastermind that you could be involved in, and that's an additional payment. And I'll talk about that. I can answer those questions. But so what happens is, and I have a money back guarantee, which I also will talk about. And we're going to have the welcome party on Saturday, which is going to be really fun. So weight loss science is simple. We go over that in modules 1 and 2. And all the modules are pre-recorded. They're in the program. Beautiful new website. It's gorgeous. Create and troubleshoot your own protocol. That modules 3 and 4 take care of that. Recognize and process your emotions. Modules 5, 6, and 7 take total responsibility for your life, for your body, for your weight, all of that. And those are modules 8, 9, and 10. And then you create confidence and you learn how to create more and more confidence. It's an upward spiral. And those are in modules 11 and 12. So those are all included in my Love Yourself Thin lifetime membership. And by the way, I'm so happy to say that because I have been like working on this for over a year and being able to provide it as lifetime. And we've been working actually on the website. I have an amazing team been working with me since June. So the 5 simple steps for permanent weight loss, you get the modules and workbook. You get, oh, and then we have this beautiful workbook, which is right here. So it's amazing and beautiful. And it's also, you have a digitized version of it, which then you can work, those people who like doing things online, it's all digitized and you will have your very own portal within the program that's unique to you. So it's like your own little room where you have your name and you keep track of all the classes, all the worksheets, all the bonus programs. It's like you have your own little tracking place. And then you even have like reflection place if you want to reflect on it there, logging in, whatever you want to do with your weight, if you want to keep progress. I highly recommend, well, there are some parameters about the 90-day in 20 pounds in 90 days. I have a money back guarantee. And so that's one of my ways of tracking to make sure that if you want to have the money back guarantee, that's how I track it there. Okay. So you get the modules and the workbooks on demand. So starting on Monday, you get all of it. Actually, Saturday, you get open to it because they'll have it live. It's risk-free because you have the money back guarantee and you have lifetime access. So incredible. So that is $2,000. So you can go right now to darathomason.com/love-yourself-thin/. You can go right now and you can buy it. And I will shout you out on this call and you will like get in forever. And so one of the ways that I always want to make sure that I'm serving my clients is that I really want to help you to have the most success with the modules, the most success with the worksheets. And so I came up with what one of my coaches does. She has what's called Ask a Coach. And so if you have questions like, I'm going to a party, help, don't want to cook 3 meals every time I cook a meal, because like for this kid, for myself, for my husband, people get exhausted with that. I'm so discouraged. I'm annoyed with the scale. Okay. So real life questions, and you can do it your very own questions for you. And so you ask the question, and then myself and my certified coaches will give you an answer. And then what happens is you will get an email saying, oh, you got your answer, your question answered. And then it'll go in a bank, and it's all like private, like it's all like anonymous on there. So then your question, if you have that question, chances are everyone else has that question too. So helpful. So we've got Ask a Coach. It's just starting out because it's my brand new website. So all of you new beginners, like, fill your boots, just keep going, ask lots and lots of questions, and then we can really fill that, and it becomes quite a true bank of value for so many people. Another way that I can help you have the very most success in my program and my process is we have a private Facebook community. I really love the energy of the group. And at first I thought, I started out as a one-on-one coach, and I thought, okay, that is amazing. And I loved it. And I loved my ladies so much. But what happened is, as I grew, I needed to do group coaching. And so my business coach was like, well, you got to do the group. And I said, well, it's weight loss. She said, listen, how could that be the best for them? And I'm telling you, I had no clue how powerful it is to be in a group setting. And you can decide however you want. And so we use 3 hashtags. And of course, this is just new, so we will be using 3 hashtags. So one is the hashtag celebrate. So I went to the party with my sister-in-law and I honored my plan. Amazing. The hashtag coach. I need coaching, not sure how to keep up with the modules. I don't seem to have the time. So this is an issue of course, of prioritizing. And then we've got a hashtag evaluation. The scale hasn't moved in 3 days and I'm having trouble figuring it out why. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with that. And then the last really significant, well, there's 2 more aspects that I have created for you to have the very most success in this process is we have 3 live coaching calls a week. So amazing to do that for you. And so every Monday, every month I have a topic that is going to basically have a deep dive into one of the 12 modules and things that I see are coming up. So I already have my 12 months all planned for 2022, and we will be working on that topic for the month. And then that will then go into the resource page, and you have access to it forever, and you will have access to all of them as you go. And so that's what we do on the Monday. So we'll learn the information and we get coaching and support. And then we have 2 other coaching calls a week. And that's where you bring any of the issues, any of the questions, any of the concerns, anything that's happening for you to those calls. So it'll either be me or my certified coaches who have gone through my program, who have gone to the life coach school. They will be coaching you on that as well. And so what happens is when you bring that to you, just like when you have a beautiful new home, you got to keep up the maintenance. This is what we're talking about. This is how we create that maintenance. And so you solidify those 5 vital steps. Now, I want to just tell you right now, we are in this for the long game. This is a process of learning. We are focused on the process, and I can tell you the result is going to come. The result is just becomes inevitable. So when you focus so much on the process and what's going on, you're going to be able to really allow yourself to have the most success possible. Okay, so we've got the 5 vital steps, right? So we have the 12 modules. I'm going to teach you that. We have Ask a Coach. We have our Facebook community. We have weekly coaching calls. We have 3 weekly coaching calls, and then we have all the bonus programs. So all of the Monday classes that I've done in 2020 and 2021 are all included. All the pop-up groups that I've done, they're all included. And so that is all available for you. Okay, it's very exciting. Oh, there we go. So Rochelle is like posting the link. And then as a bonus to sign on this call, I am going to give you the 12 modules already printed if you don't have them already. And I'm going to send you my 12-step perfection recovery book, which is what I wrote for when I was a professional quilter. And so I have that book that I will send to you. So if you sign up on this call, I will mail those to you. Okay. Now, remember, we have the 20 pounds and 90-day money back guarantee, and everything is $2,000 for all of this lifetime access. So now it's your turn. Your turn to ask me any question. Here for you. So the mastermind is for my clients who want, so you have to have worked with me. You've had to have gone through the 12 modules, and the focus for this mastermind, it starts March 2nd, is weight loss maintenance. So it's nothing that I really, all the programs that I've ever seen, all of that is all about how to lose the weight. And so my focus really is on how to maintain that weight once you, oh yeah, that's right. Thank you. I'll mention that too. So once you've lost the weight, it's like you're taking yourself to that next level of thinking. And I really love the mastermind that I have right now. It's amazing. I love it. Not loved, I love it. We do a lot of work on creating the results that we want in our life. So we're really working on learning about the model, which is one of our main life coaching tools. We've been working a lot on creating goals and troubleshooting that. And we definitely talk about the weight. That is a big part of it. So this will be all new curriculum that I have been working on. It's just a beautiful thing. And so that is going to be $8,000 for the mastermind. And that you will know that you have access to me like throughout the time uniquely. So that is your access to me. And one of the things that you can, so it's $8,000. And then if you are in the mastermind, the price of the lifetime membership is included in that. And that's just for this round, because this is like my, it's like a signing bonus basically. So there is, so Rochelle has added the letter of, it's the letter of medical necessity. So there is an ability to get funding for this program through your insurance provider. So there is a form there that you could just take to your doctor and they can fill that out, and that will help with the cost of that. Okay, are there any other questions? Still have a question. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Rochelle. So I know that I think about like $2,000. That is, a substantial amount of money. And so, I mean, I think about how much we spend on sewing machines and fabric and all of that. And that's actually one of the reasons why I created my program the way I did, is because I want you to, once you're in, you don't have to worry about it. Like, when you go on a vacation, you're like, oh, I spent all the money to get to the vacation. And then you have to keep spending, like, you go out for this restaurant or that restaurant, or, you're going to go on this excursion or that. I love the idea of going on a vacation. You pay once and that's it. And then you just get to work on the vacation. You don't have to work and get to work, get to like enjoy it. And then you don't have to make any more decisions. You don't have to think about, oh, can we do this and look at our budget? No, you're just like, this is just, I'm like, this is all included. You made that one decision and then it's over. And that's kind of why I decided to, well, there's a lot of reasons why I decided to do it this way, but I love the idea of you saying, I'm worth my own investment, and you're willing to like put the work in. And so, yes, you pay me once and you're in for life. And so if you have any questions that, you know, you don't feel comfortable just typing in a webinar, which is, I totally understand, you can have a 20-minute consult with me and you can ask me any questions and I'm totally open. Now, one of the things about my lifetime membership, it's open all the time. I don't have an open and close date. You can't just get in March, or, you know, I'm not gonna like, you can come anytime. You're welcome. It's like, I have a t-shirt that says the more the merrier. And I love hosting people at in my home. And it was a little bit difficult during COVID, of course, but I truly want everyone to have this opportunity to really have the sustainable weight loss for themselves. So, any other questions? I do have this webinar again. It's going to be a little bit different tonight because every time I do it, I do a little different. I add different things. I have different thoughts because I'm always, yeah, anyway, so there are no other questions. I totally want to thank you. And I love that this is, I thank you for you. I thank you for your future you. I thank you for truly allowing yourself, register for the PM, yeah, allowing yourself the opportunity to believe something different. I saw a quote the other day that said, old keys don't open new doors. And if you continue to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, you're always going to be disappointed. It's always going to be not good. Okay, that's the definition of insanity. So when you really understand there's only one reason we're overweight, we just put more food in our mouth than our bodies need. That's it. I used to say there's two reasons why we're overweight. One is over hunger and one is over desire. And so breaking it up kind of gave me some guidelines, like over desire is like the sugar and the flour and eating all those kinds of things. And then over hunger is just eating more often than our body needs. So like doing the snacking and everything. But essentially it comes down to, we are literally putting more food in our mouth than our body can consume. It's like we're filling up a car with gas and the car's like, our gas tank is already full. So you got a bunch of jerry cans. So we got to figure out, where is that connection that is the broken connection from, I know my body has lots of stored fuel, so why do I keep putting more fuel in it? That is what we solve in Love Yourself Thin. That is what we get to really discover, and we do it in such a loving, comfortable way. I create that for you. I help you create that for yourself, that you can have that kind of relationship in your body, that you're not like finger wagging all the time. You're not judging yourself all the time. You're like, oh, wait a minute. Why am I turning to this food? Why am I creating this result for myself? Why is this happening? And then we can really see what's happening in such a loving way that we're just gonna like figure it out. So awesome. All right, I just feel so much love for you right now. I love that you're still on this call. I love that you're watching the replay. For those of you watching the replay, I love that you're giving yourself the opportunity to truly believe that you can be different, that you can change the way you are. It is one of my greatest privileges and pleasures to be the coach for my ladies. I always call them my ladies. And I truly love that job. And I love being an advocate for you, believing that you can be more, that you can do more with this beautiful body that you have. And you can stop putting all those obstacles. It's like I imagine you like walking and there's just like Legos all on the floor and you're just like, I hate this. This is terrible. I'm like helping you learn how to clean up all the Legos and putting them somewhere else. You don't have to walk on them anymore. You don't have to keep this story. All right. Take care, everyone. Take care, everyone. I'm so happy you were here. And I do want to encourage you to go over right now. Those of you who haven't already. And those of you who are considering a mastermind, come and talk to me. There's a spot for you. All right, take care.